All right, so as I promised, I'm going to go through each week that Kim has been putting out content this year. So basically, or her updates, right? So from the first week of January, second week of January, third week of January, so on and so forth. And for each video, I'm going to have the dates so you guys know exactly when she said these things. And in the video itself, I'm going to say on this day she said these things. So if you do watch UNN, or if you're curious as to when she put this out, I'm going to tell you. Now again, I want you guys to understand that I'm speaking for myself and not Kim. I am reporting on what she said, but these are my words and my interpretation of what she said. So if I make a mistake or if there's a correction to be made, and you watch what she said in her UNN report, then you can correct me in the comments and say, hey, actually she said this, or you misunderstood this, or whatever. We'll have a talk about it. And if that's the case, I'll make a correction. But long story short, I'm going to go through all the points. I had to script this video, not script, but I had to write down the bullet points, and I'm going to read off of the notepad I have opened here. And I'm just going to go through each point. I'm going to give my understanding of what she said. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not Kim. I need you guys to understand that, because sometimes people get upset with me, or they'll make comments and say, oh, well, she didn't say that, or whatever. I'm not Kim. That's all I'm trying to say. I am me. So this is my understanding, and I don't understand everything that she says perfectly, because she's extremely intelligent and knowledgeable, and she knows a lot of things that I don't know. That's just the truth of the matter. This is just the best that I can do, right? So without further ado, I'm going to get started. And this is, again, from January 2nd through January 6th. And I'm going to say the first date, like I'll go January 2nd, January 4th, January 6th. Okay, so January 2nd. She said, and I have to be careful with my words here. So if you hear me stuttering or whatever, that's because I'm trying to make sure I don't say anything that gets me another strike. So she said the treatment for the disease that we've been dealing with for the last few years, the intention is not really to help people. So I'm gonna say that. I'm not gonna, you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Read between the lines or through the code, whatever. And she said she spoke to, I believe it was a CIA agent or something like that. I don't remember. I should have wrote that down. But they were explaining to her the process, and I translated it as a slow kill, like slowly over time, hurting people with this treatment. And it's created to basically destroy your immune system. So that's what she said. That's what they're intending with it. And I've heard this from multiple, not just doctors, but credible people that I find to be credible. And it lines up, right? So she said it, other people said it. So when you see a lot of people that are credible and are trying to help humanity saying the same thing, I kind of tend to believe that that's what the case is. And it's not just that, but I'm seeing things play out in the real world, and I'm seeing how people are being injured by this. And it just makes sense, right? That's what's taking place. So she also said that in India, over 500 million people have been hurt by this treatment. And she also said in Vietnam, they now have autism because of a treatment that Bill Gates introduced. They did not have autism before Bill Gates showed up there. So that tells you what this piece of garbage is doing to humanity. So anybody that believes him or is taking his treatments, he does not have the best interest of people in mind. I believe he was quoted as saying that, it's not word for word, but we have too many people on the planet, or we need to work on a way to reduce the population, whatever. So that's what he's about. So if you're taking his treatments, then you already know what he's trying to do to you, and it's not help you. Now, she went on to talk about, and I'm going to skip, I'm not going to talk about every single thing she said. I'm just going to talk about the things that I found to be important, okay? So she made a point about the Federal Reserve and when it was created and why it was created. And it was created on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia in the United States. And she said people think that it was just the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, but there are actually multiple countries involved, different countries from around the world, and they all had a say in it. And that's because the overall arcing power, I guess, the true controllers that wanted this to be done were the Covens, according to her. And that's why they had multiple countries join in on this. And that's why it makes sense when she says that the Fed controls pretty much most of the money in the world, or it affects different countries, right? Not just the United States, where most people would just think it's something for the U.S., right? Now, she also talked about her position, and she said that she's above the Fed and the Covens, and she has the highest position, so I'm sure most of you already know that. But she just made it another point because she was basically saying that she doesn't answer to them, they answer to her, or they're supposed to anyways. So she has a higher position. Obviously, they should be taking orders from her, but they're not. She also talked about the Fed contract expiring on June 15, 2012, and no longer being backed by the Alpha system, which she controls. So there's that. And I'll talk more about that coming up. She said the Dragon families and the Black Sun are fighting each other to take what each other has. So they're basically at war with each other because they're very greedy people and they want to control the world. So they're fighting each other to try to take what the other group has. That's the gist of it. She also said that there were a bunch of people, and this part I didn't fully understand, but apparently there were some people trying to do some bad things and they went to some terminals or something like that, and they were killed by her. I want to say that's because she said these people were agents or bad people trying to do bad things, and they went to a certain place thinking they were going to do something bad, and she ended up, she said they went to different terminals or something like that. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said that when they went there, they thought they were going to do something, and then they ended up getting killed. That's the best that I can remember of what she said about that. Let's see what else. She said the Fed can't print money anymore because they don't have any contract with her and her seat and her position, and she doesn't owe them any money. She doesn't have to print or give them money, so they can't print money because she's not giving them access to it. She talked about signing a contract in 2014 to be the guardian of the earth. And that contract, she says, comes from the highest power in the universe. She said it comes from source, basically. And that's the only contract that she has that is valid. She doesn't have any other contract. She doesn't abide by any other contract. That's the only contract that matters to her or that is relevant or that is even a thing, basically. She doesn't have any other contracts. Let's see what else. She said all the militaries are pretty much owned by the Black Sun, and they're basically private militaries or private agencies. They don't really serve the people. What else? She said the umbrella organization or whatever they are and the SSP have remaining operatives that are basically in plain sight now, trying to spread lies and misinformation, I guess, or trying to convince people about certain things, or just basically tell people what they're trying to do because they don't have any people to run ops for them. They can't afford to pay anybody. So they're basically coming out of the shadows and speaking to people on alt media sites or on the internet, whatever, just trying to get their information out or trying to get people to follow them and listen to them. So what do they say? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So if you hear somebody saying something that is questionable or you think is wrong, then maybe they're one of these people, right? And that goes for any alt media, even people that you might trust. That's why I really don't trust anybody but myself, and I listen to whoever I think is credible. But let's see. She said that they were planning to do some really evil things, like blow up the world and stuff like that. But she stopped them, I think she said. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. Then she said, I believe it's the Black Sun. They don't want to work with Trump anymore because he's kind of outlived his purpose or served his purpose. He's not useful to them anymore. And they don't really need him for anything. Something like that. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. She said also that they like to, on Netflix or on movies and stuff like that, which this has been going on for a long time. Pretty much probably forever. Ever since, well, I want to say definitely in recent times. But they show you what they're trying to do or what they want to do because they want you to accept who they are and what they are. She said, like the Black Sun, they want you to see them as their gods, or as your gods, to accept them as gods, or worship them as such. So they show you these things and they present everything in front of you because they feel like they're going to take over. So they're like, why not just put it out there? And I think she talked about this before, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she said she gave Trump a lot of money to pay off student loans that he never did. So she took the money back because he wasn't using it for what he was supposed to. I believe it's Trump that she was talking about. Obviously the United States because it's student loans, right? So it had to be whoever was in charge of the country at that time. Then she said, the ascension is complete and that her and her team did their part. They were supposed to clear out the darkness and they did. So now the rest of the work you have to do on your own. You have to ascend yourself. She says she's not going to ascend you for you. So you have to ascend yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. She said, your connection with Source is going to get stronger as time goes on. But if there are things that are keeping you from that, and I think she said this in the next video too, that it's basically on you that you're holding yourself back. So that's what she said on January 2nd. Now, to January 4th, she said the Chinese overlords, I would say the dragon families or whatever, they don't have any power anymore because the Line of Solomon contracts have expired. So they have no more say or control over anything. She also said the mafias of the world are expecting money, but it disappeared. So, and the reason why is because she says she has it. So she took their money and she's holding it. She says she has it safely, or else they would have lost it anyway. So she's holding it for them. She said they should thank her. I thought that was kind of funny. And she said that she offered them a deal to work with her on the black market and remove certain things from the black market. And that she would grant them businesses around the world that they would make more money off of. But they have to be willing to work with her on what she wants done. Or else they're not going to have anything, basically, is what she was saying. She also said Kevin McCarthy is Black Sun. And that's who they want up there as the speaker. But because they couldn't get any money or contracts or anything done or pay anybody, they were having a lot of infighting and a lot of issues. And that's why they're having this debacle in the White House where they can't elect them, whatever. That whole situation was stupid. Everybody knew he was going to get elected, so I don't even know why they went through that dog and pony show, but whatever. So, and she also said, which I thought was pretty interesting, but I think most of the people watching already know this, is that the House of Representatives and the people that work in the White House pretty much know what's going on in terms of all of this being a stage, right? Some made up crap that it's not legitimate. It's just a show. And she also said, like, the White House is a stage, or you're watching a movie or whatever, something like that. Then she changed gears a little bit. She talked about the earth being bathed in the light of the Creator. And she said most of the darkness is gone. So we're just getting a lot of light from the Creator. And she also said the light won, or her side won, the good guys won, however you want to look at that. And that the fallen angels are gone. They've gone back to source. She also mentioned Lucerne, which I've never heard of before. But apparently that was the last fallen angel, something like that, that has left and gone, served this purpose, whatever. So they're no longer here. So if you know about that, then you know about that. I don't know about that. It's new to me. But then she said that they will not kill all of humanity like they want to. And the earth is not overpopulated, because they keep trying to make this excuse that there are too many people on the planet. And Sunny brought up a point where she said when she flies over places, there's so much land and stuff. And I know from my experience driving around the country, I have seen a lot of land where there are no people. And I'm like, how can we be overpopulated in this world? When you drive across the country, you see so much land available for people to live. Untapped lands that probably nobody's been to. No human has been there. And yet they're saying, and that's just in the United States. And then Kim brought up, Africa, South America. There's so many places where there's a lot of land that nobody lives there. And yet they're saying we're overpopulated. It's BS. But they're trying to use that as an excuse to kill people, right? And then the last point she made on January 4th was she talked about the white hats being evil operatives that are basically trying to tell you that they're here to save you or help you out or do something good for humanity, when in reality, they're not trying to help anybody. They're trying to help themselves and boost themselves. And if anything, they're planning to try to kill their followers or to do evil things to their followers. They're not about helping anybody or anything like that. She brought up Juan Osaven, and she said that he talked about something being released called Seers, and that would be the new thing that would, make people sick. And he's basically telling his followers or people what they're trying to plan on doing, when he's not doing anything to help anybody, yet he's telling people what the plan is, what they're trying to do to hurt people. That's the kind of person Juan Osaven is. He's a piece of trash. But whatever. People believe in that guy. Whatever. It's up to you who you want to believe. So now, January 6th, she talked about... So this is for January 6th now. We're leaving January 4th, January 6th. She said that the January 6th that happened a few years ago, that whole, insurrection BS, was supposed to be Trump's 9/11 moment or some crap like that. And it was stopped by some of Kim's friends and the bomb squad. And they were basically setting up Trump supporters to be terrorists. So if that situation would have happened and some explosion would have happened and went off there, because there was supposed to be an explosion, if that would have happened, then they would have labeled all, Trump supporters terrorists, and it would have been worse than what it is now. They still went after them anyways, but it probably would have been a lot worse if that would have went off. And it's funny because I talked about Trump setting up his supporters, and that was just my eye test, just using my eyes and common sense and seeing what took place, what happened, how Trump reacted, and the intel that he had, and then seeing what happened to his followers afterwards and him leading them down there, knowing that he was setting them up for failure. All of that stuff, I already figured it out. So when I'm hearing Kim say this, it just makes perfect sense, right? Like, 2 and 2 go together. That's the way I see it. But anyways, Kim said, oh yeah, they played a commercial or something where Trump was talking, and he said he was gonna be tough on the cartels and stuff like that. And Kim said that they already took care of that. So I didn't really understand what she was talking about there. She said a whole bunch of stuff that I was like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. But something about the cartels and Trump trying to take credit for what Kim did, basically. Um, let's see what else. Oh yeah, Kim said that people always bring up to her that why are there still all these people in these positions of power, and why haven't they been removed, right? Like the people that you see up there that we know are bad people, but they're still in these positions of power. And that's one of my biggest questions. And she said that those people are just mindless puppets walking around. They have no real direction. And the ones that were controlling them have been removed. But my question still is, so who is still there controlling them, right? Are these just like who's doing this, right? Like are there just rogue humans doing this? Like so that's my question still that I still haven't gotten a clear answer from Kim, because she said that the ones controlling them have been removed, but yet the puppets are still walking around. So why are even the puppets walking around? They shouldn't even exist because they have no purpose. Well, it is what it is. That's the only thing that I'm still like, I don't understand what's going on there. But next thing she said was all the big pharma companies are run by Black Sun, and their only true goal is to hurt people. So, they talk about the experts said this is the safest thing to do, yada, yada, yada. You guys know what I'm talking about. But they have no real intention of helping anyone, and they never offer any real solutions to any medical problems. It's just take this, take that, and then whatever happens to you happens to you. And that's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to help anybody. They're just trying to hurt people. You guys can figure that out. I'm not going to get too deep into that. She also said the generals were getting paid, like the higher rankings in the military, for having people take the treatment for, that disease that's been messing with us for the last few years. And yeah, the more people that took it, the more the generals got paid. She also brought up a point about they were handing out some pins, lapel pins, in the White House to supposedly support Chinese New Year, but the pin said CCP on it, so that tells you the loyalty. And she said it was mostly the Democrats that were doing it. So yeah, that tells you where their loyalties are, right? It's not to us. Let's just say that. Let's see what else. She also said that if she showed people pictures of deep state people that have been killed or taken out, people wouldn't recognize them. So there's no point of her providing any proof because people aren't going to believe it anyway. So she's like, the only thing people need to know is that they're not trying to hurt us anymore and they're gone. So, people that always say, oh, I need proof, I want to see proof. Kim, I don't see any proof. She's basically telling those people, hey, even if I showed you the proof or told you who this person was, you wouldn't know anyway. So what's the difference? I might as well just tell you what happened and that's it. So that is kind of a good point, because most of the time when she says she did something or some people died, I'm like, I don't know who those people are. I don't know who she's talking about. So that's one of those things that's kind of like, you either believe her or you don't, right? Like, it is what it is. I have no real opinion on that other than that's what she said. So we'll go with that. Let's see what else. She said something about the Vatican and some organization see something. I don't remember what it was, but some organization that would go to some place and offer up human souls to the Dark Overlord. And she said that when they tried to go do that, they were, I guess, killed or taken out because she said they're no longer able to do that. They're not offering any more souls to the Dark Overlord because they've been deleted, basically. So it is what it is. That goes to show you what kind of people are at the Vatican, right? Let's see. She also said that the global repository will replace the banking system. So basically, the system that she runs is going to take over the banking system, and the ones that are controlling the banking systems are basically out of options. They don't know what to do. They can't figure out how to stop what she's doing, and that they know that eventually what she's doing is going to take over what they're doing, so they're kind of just giving up. And then she also said that, and I think this is pretty interesting, she said that by the end of 2023, she's not sure if there will be any more militaries or governments in the world. And that's, it's pretty crazy to think about, that by the end of this year, we may not have any governments or militaries. So I don't know how that's going to take place or what's going to cause that, but that's what she said. So we'll just have to wait and see, right? But anyways, that's what I have for you guys right now. I'm going to keep going through the content. I'm going to keep watching what she put out in the UNN reports. And I'm going to go week by week. And as I go through it, I'll release videos. They're going to be longer videos. They're going to be like this. I apologize if it sounds a little mundane or boring, but I have to write down all the stuff. I can't memorize this. Like, I can listen real well, but I'm not going to remember all this stuff. Kim she has so much knowledge and information that unless you know what she knows, you're not going to be able to just sit there and recite it. Unless you're just one of those people that can memorize things on the first go. I'm just not built like that, unfortunately. I can remember a lot, but I can't say it like the way I just said it. So I had to script it, or, write down the bullet points and then just read it off. And I'll try to, not be so boring next time, but it's the best I can do for now. So that's all I have to say. So look forward to more. I might keep this thumbnail because, it's going to be the same thing each time. So that way, when you guys see this thumbnail, you already know this is going to be an update from Kim. Okay. So maybe I'll just keep using the same thumbnails for you guys that only watch me for these updates. Okay. But without further ado, I would like to say, if you like, comment, subscribe, share where you can, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.